Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with N Allen Erich McElroy. Starting soon. N Allen and Erich McElroy.
Who's done a terrific job.
Why, thank you. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with N Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon. Streaming live on the internet.
And I think you said you're going to test that too.
We did test it. Yeah, it works sometimes. Starting soon. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with N Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon. Doing online shows.
For much longer than I would have liked.
Suit yourself. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with N Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon. From their tidied up offices.
And then I see the disinfectant.
You do not want to know what happened in there before. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with N Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon. Answering the questions from
you, the people of this country.
If you email them in comics@somenews.co.uk or tweet at Mr. N Allen or at Erich McElroy. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with N Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon. Starting soon.
In a minute. 1 minute.
Well, maybe a bit longer than a minute, but soon. Soon. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with N Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon. The web show we started because we were out of work.
And it is still true.
All right, don't rub it in. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with N Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon. Using their expertise to solve problems.
You're going to have to use medical doctors with.
Nope, just two comedians talking rubbish out of their face holes. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with N Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon. Lockdown 2020.
Hello and welcome to Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems. I'm Stephen Allen.
And I'm Eric McElroy. Hello. And yes, this is it. We are here, Steve. It's our 30th episode of the show.
I never thought we'd make it. Oh,
I know. We've been doing this now for 15 weeks, where we have been here as comics in quarantine, solving problems. Now, we probably haven't solved any problems throughout. We've talked about quite a few. I think the world is worse off from when we got here. And we're still sort of only halfway in quarantine because there aren't many live gigs. And so this is the only way that we can reach other human beings. Yeah. But this was still a special moment. And so I celebrated that moment. I did something. Can you tell what it is?
Is that a different shirt?
Stop it. I know you can tell. Yes.
I can tell. It looks like you've been attacked by a flipping sheep shearer.
I got my haircut, guys. In case you're just joining us, this is my first haircut in almost 6 months. And I said to the woman, I said, can you make me look like a police officer? Because they're popular right now. And then I split my chin open, which you can see there's a little cut there. So now I look like I've been a police officer out in the streets, helping the people connect. So yes, Stephen, I did it. This is 6 months. Just
Does it feel better?
The reason I went this short was I figured that this is the last window because I'm very pessimistic and I figure we're going to be back in lockdown soon. So I thought I won't have another chance for a haircut until February or March anyway. I might as well go with this. But I guess also it just shows how much we've changed. I mean, look at last Thursday's show. We've got our screenshot from last Thursday's show. Look at that.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a difference in hair, isn't it?
Yeah, you look like a 90s saxophone player.
Oh God, your beard, because your beard is the same. It's pretty much.
Yeah, well, it's got a couple of extra days worth of growth, but nothing to write home about. Yeah.
But I mean, that's only 1 week's difference. That's only 1 week. Let's go all the way back in time, Steve. Let's go back to 15 weeks ago when we did our first episode. How did we look then?
Wow.
I mean, I started needing glasses apparently in between now and then. The hair definitely grew. I think I like you with the beard. I have to say.
I mean, it's never a great chin, but then I can only hide it with this hair. I don't think I've got many options when it comes to the lower part of my face.
You've got a very nice sea captain look. I don't know if you've seen Seth Meyers has got a sea captain in his thing now. But you know what, Steve? You and I have done comedy together for a long time, well before this lockdown. And so I thought, I went through and I tried to find the very first picture of you and I doing comedy together, Steve, and I found it. And here it is.
Wow, all those years ago.
I don't think we've changed.
I've gained weight.
You were blonde before you were ginger? Is that? Yeah. Or is that just faded color chrome because the technology was so old?
No, I was a blonde kid. Back in those days, I didn't have a beard.
I think I look the same.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, I love the fact that those pictures I'm of a younger age than you are, which is just true. Which is true.
I am older than you are.
And you're nearer the camera than me, which is often...
Which is usually what happens.
Normally when
I lean in.
Well, let's go back and look at that, eh? Who would have thought the innocence in those eyes, the potential would be wasted? And
why were we in those rooms?
I don't know. And this is what it was like back then. Back then, we didn't have the ability to put the graphics on top of the pictures. For some reason, your head went in front of the graphics.
Because I lean in so much.
That looks good. Already,
anyway, 30 shows in 15 weeks. And here we are. Yeah. So onwards and upwards. I think we'll be here for a while.
On Twitch, Reenthused wants to know, he says lighter, ? It's either, are you feeling lighter? Or did the person use a lighter? Because that would also be burn it off. That might be what happened to your hair.
Oh, yeah, might be. Or maybe my lip. Lit my lip on fire. Smoking hot, guys. Smoking hot. So welcome to the show where we basically will solve any problems that you want to send our way. And we will tackle the day's news as well. And also, and haircuts.
Yeah, we'll solve all the problems. Keep them coming. If you enjoy any part of the show enough to buy us a drink, the link is down the bottom. I want to jump into the big news of the day, and it's probably Russia report related. It reveals that the UK government failed to investigate Kremlin interference, and well, we've waited too long for this, or we've not waited long enough if you are a member of the government. And I find that report kind of disappointing. The report has said no one really investigated it. And I got to be honest, I thought that was your job. I thought this was going to be an investigation. You've investigated whether anyone else has previously investigated it or not. This is the equivalent of saying, I'll make the tea, walking into the kitchen, 2 minutes later walking out going, well, I've looked into it and no one's put the kettle on. So maybe we should have a little think about that.
Yeah.
Just get the damn investigation done. We want to know the main facts here. Has Russia managed to impact any of our elections? Boris Johnson spoke to this topic recently, and he said,
there's absolutely no evidence that I've ever seen of any Russian interference in UK democratic process.
So, to be fair, that was in 2019, and he'd just probably come out of a fridge. And it's very difficult to get mobile reception in a fridge, so he wasn't on top of it, but he didn't think there was anything. Cut to what they said in the report.
The report reveals that no one in government knew if Russia interfered in or sought to influence the referendum because they did not want to know.
Brilliant. That is the same reason why I have no idea what's in a kebab. And I never want to find out.
Oh, I remember eating kebabs. I haven't gone out.
Oh, back on the diet as well, aren't you? So yeah. It's gonna every week there'll be a thing about kebabs now. I can see what's happened here. What's happened is there's no reason for them to actually try and find out whether anything's happened or not, because life is no longer about truth. Whether Russia's throwing misinformation at our elections, they don't care. And I tell you who I blame for this: people who put their emotions before facts.
Okay.
You get a lot of people, I don't like it, so it can't be true. Is not a sentence that exists, but you can't get to people, which now means governments don't have to worry about proving things wrong and getting rid of misinformation. They just think, well, we'll just do better misinformation. All we need to do is make people feel like they're feeling the way they want to feel. They'll vote for us. So we are post-truth. This is absolutely terrifying. It's impacted other elections as well, because in that clip they were talking about the referendum, the Brexit referendum, and today it's gone back on Twitter to the old schism, the two different groups fighting each other.
Yep.
Let's not rehash 2016 again. I think the phrase is, Russia won, get over it. And then there was the headline in the Telegraph today, Russia tried to meddle with the Scottish vote. Do you know what? I've got to be honest. I no longer think that there's any elections we can try. Every vote in the UK has probably been meddled with. I'm starting to think that maybe the British people didn't want that science vessel to be called Boaty McBoatface.
You think it was Putin?
I think it was Putin. Let's make them have silly name for ship. And it's undermining the UK.
Bastard.
Exactly. We got to the bottom of it on this show. And it makes so much sense, because if they had have done an investigation, the report would have told us all the dirty details. And it's like, why would you bother looking for something? Because if you don't look for it, you never have to deal with what you find.
Yep.
To quote a very wise man.
When you do testing to that extent, you're going to find more people, you're going to find more cases. So I said to my people, slow the testing down, please.
Slow the testing down, please. But it's right.
He speaks the truth.
He flipping does these days. It's his world and we're all living in it. So look, I'm still upset about this. Let's find out more. And to find out more, I'm joined by a government spokesperson. Hello.
Hello.
It's rather scathing, this.
Not at all. No, there was no evidence of any interference.
Did you look for any?
Well, why would we look for evidence when there was no evidence that we would find any? So we didn't look. And even if we were to look, where would we start? Follow the evidence? There was none, so we didn't.
You're using circular logic.
Yes, I will, thank you.
What?
Sorry, Steve, carry on.
It looks like a cover-up.
No, there's absolutely no evidence that this is a cover-up. As we say, the best disinfectant is vodka.
Sunshine. The phrase is sunshine.
In English, Sergey. No, I can't hear a word you're saying. Slow down. Never mind. Steve, sorry, it looks like the line's bad.
I think I was hung up on. Although there's no evidence of that. What? It's the first piece of acting in tonight's show so far.
I think everyone on that side of the screen has just got a bigger head. Because it's not me. It's not me leaning in too much. Yeah. It's just that's what happens. It's the distortion on that side. But well done. Zoomed in. I mean, I have to say, I have physically changed my looks on my actual self. Steve manages to manipulate his looks more every episode. If you go back to the graphics we had in episode 1, there were none.
No, it's basically, eventually, it was like a breakthrough when we realised we could show headlines. And now look at us.
And now there's no stopping him. There's no stopping him, guys.
Thank you for the comment. You can keep the comments coming through. Reenthew says it's the time of film, so parents would get really close to make sure that they definitely got you in shot. That's why we look like that. All the original pictures of us, we're on proper grainy film.
Yeah, exactly.
And any more comments on Eric's hair? Originally, I thought you looked like a 1990s saxophone player. And the comment board, apparently you also look like a Top Gear host.
Oh, hey, I'd take that job if it was gone.
TV work.
I can talk about cars and I can be racist. So I'm a good fit. The other thing, I kind of look like an evangelical preacher. Like I'm going to bring the Lord, and the wrath of Jesus to you.
Yeah. I mean, I expect that every week. That's what happens when you work with an American.
Yes, I'm kind of seeing the comments on your screen, but not getting the feed very well here. But I can tell you that we have had contributions. Someone pre-bought tickets, which you can do if you come through the Crack Comedy portal. Steve did that on the not you, Steve. You didn't buy a ticket to your own show. Different Steve. And also I can thank Sue for buying us a drink using the Joke Pit link, which is at the bottom of your screen, because basically there's been a handful of live gigs that have started, but otherwise this is it.
Yeah, I've not been invited to those either.
No, all the comics who don't need the money. Anyway,
Stephen Leatherdale also says on Twitter, you can message us on Twitter, Method Tash. That was Method Tash. It was a black moustache over a ginger beard. That seems believable. Yeah,
I would love to be able to grow a mustache, but obviously not shave because that's dangerous. But yes, so if you can, keep some drinks coming, and if we've caught up with comments, we can go on to one of the stories that was actually suggested to us by a listener, because we will take your problems as well. But this was a problem that was tied in to what we realized was breaking news in the United States. So this was sent to us on Twitter. I think we have the tweet here from Mark, who's a regular viewer of the show. Here's a problem for you and Eric McElroy. This was sent to you, Steve, to solve if Joe Biden wins the U.S. election, but the current incumbent, I like how he doesn't name Donald Trump, as if this way he won't know. Who's the current incumbent? Anyway, refuses to leave. What can the U.S. do? Now, Mark, that is a very good question. And luckily, before we did any time to prepare any of our own material on that, we found this headline where it's actually been sorted for us. Most see Biden beating Trump in a boxing match. I'm not a fan of boxing, Steve, but that is a match I would very much like to see. I mean, if that had been, so this was a genuine survey that was done. It was done by a company called Fit Rated, and they surveyed the 50 strongest leaders in the world, put them up in hypothetical matches. I mean, I don't think there's a secret fight club that we don't know about it. That would be incredible.
But we wouldn't know about it because the first rule.
Well, we would know about it because Donald Trump can't keep a secret. He's like, I'm not supposed to talk about it, but there's this thing. I would never tell anyone. But I got my ass kicked. See, I've almost started doing a Trump impression, and I'm hoping that he doesn't get reelected. I'm going to jinx it. Anyway, would you have picked Biden in that fight, Steve?
I don't know, actually, because Trump's got the weight advantage.
Yeah, definitely. He's a heavy hitter. Well, this was we've got the rate here of people chose in the poll. I think we've got Biden
close.
58.9% up against Trump. Most, skewed. The Republicans obviously favoring Trump. 24% of Democrats thinking that Trump would actually win. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty. I'd be happy with those election day results if we got that.
Yeah.
I don't even think you can rig the electoral college on that. But they didn't stop there. They didn't just put Trump against Biden. They put Trump against one of your favorite guys, little Kim Jong-un, little Rocket Man.
Nice.
Who do you think? Who would you take in the fight? Trump versus Rocket Man?
Oh, I think
they're both portly.
They are, but age would give it to Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, well, people agreed with you by a fairly sizable. He wouldn't win as much as Biden, surprisingly, because he has had some health scares recently. But Biden, the little Rocket Man, Trump wouldn't like that. And we've got one more matchup
just
here.
Before we move away from that one, I'm kind of surprised that the graphic wasn't Street Fighter 2, Guile versus E Honda, because that's almost the fight. It's almost the fight.
I was out. I didn't play that game. I was out dating girls and stuff.
Okay.
I wasn't. I was in the drama club, but not anyway. In the final fight we're going to show you, this one. I mean, this is obvious. I don't even just say it. It's Putin versus Donald.
Okay.
Yeah. We know it's going to win that. Give us the numbers here.
Yeah.
We've got 78% little baby Trump. Little baby Trump, because he's a little baby. Who's his little baby? You just tickle him. I mean, that would be almost child abuse. It's just not fair. It's just not fair.
Putin beats up bears, so there's no chance. He's all the judo and stuff, isn't he?
Yeah, Trump is not a bear, that's for sure. Boris Johnson did not make the list of people that they matched up Trump with, which isn't really surprising because he doesn't turn up on these things. He doesn't turn up to Cobra meetings.
That's true.
Doesn't turn up to see his kids. Doesn't turn up. But you can just basically put on anything there, and he doesn't turn up.
Yeah. Who do you think would win?
I mean, there's a lot of bluff and bluster going on in either of them. I don't know. I think they would both just get exhausted, and just they'd call and ask Putin what to do.
Did you see the way that Boris Johnson ran into that 12-year-old kid playing rugby?
That's true. You know what? I think you're right. I mean, he is up until he got sick. You know, I mean, he was. He got. I mean, he did the whole sky thing, the whatchamacallit, when he went across the zip line thing, which you would never see Trump do that. I mean, the only sport that Trump does is one where he can drive a golf cart to get from place to place. So I'd give it to Boris.
Matthew says he generally hires out for that kind of thing. Yep. It's interesting. We should. I mean, you can never particularly find out, but we should actually have a go at trying to set up more of these who would win in a fight for future episodes.
Yeah, there we go.
Angela Merkel's got to be in there somewhere, and I already know my money's on her.
Yeah, she didn't fare well in the matchups because people are sexist. So that was it. Because they also weighted it based on your military strength and the reputation of the leader. So even though she's got one of the biggest armies in the world, or military peoples, I think they have now, whatever they are, police force, she still was the bottom less because you know what? Misogyny still wins.
Must be. That must be it. Thank you for the comments. You can keep them coming through, whether it be wherever you're watching this. We'll try and see. I'll keep an eye on the YouTube ones, some of the Twitch ones coming through. And of course, you can tweet at Mr. Stephen Allen and at Eric McElroy. You can get the tweets through that.
And you can comment on Facebook. You can, if you're enjoying the show, you can also share it to your friends on Facebook or your enemies. If you're not enjoying the show, we're not fussed. We'll take it from anyone. And if we've seen a couple more drinks come through, and thank you very much for those contributions as well. They are very much appreciated.
Yeah, Seymour says, who's Eric been kissing to get herpes?
Yeah, you should see what happened to her.
Yeah, you should see the other guy. Ooh, what?
Oh, yeah, that's not the way out of that.
No. Right, keep the messages coming through. Almost on a related topic, let's do some good news finally. So this is barely even a problem that we have to solve today. It looks like the problem might be solved for us. There's a vaccine on the way. Woo! Yeah, vaccine for Christmas. Yes, please. Because at the very least, it'll be better than what I normally get for Christmas. Things like aftershave, which you can imagine not useful. Given a choice between a vaccine for coronavirus or socks, come on. Yeah, everyone's going to go that way. It's great news for so many people. It's great news for you. It's great news for me. It's great news for the UK. It's especially great news for those Russian hackers. They're going to be enjoying what they've got. In fact, I pretty much guarantee there'll be this conversation taking place soon.
You still there, Sergey? Yeah, okay. Got some good news for you about the vaccine. Yeah, the boys at Oxford really came through. So you might want to double-check the downloads you would have got last night. Okay. Presuming that keeps you happy, I guess that means you won't be releasing the P-tape of me? No, that's the kind of P in Donald Trump's P-tape. No, mine really is just that video you have of me dining in a harvester. If anyone saw that, I'd never show my face again.
So that's good news for Russia as well. Method acting, method tash.
Yep. Nice.
Annoyingly, I didn't work out that I could use the same character twice, so I had to get redressed up. Never mind. But what I'm more worried about is the headline that told us that the government, they're looking out for us, right? It looks like the vaccine is safe and it has some effect. It brings both cellular and antibody response, and immunity has been found. This looks good. Come on. And then the government said they've bought 100 million doses.
Nice. Seems reasonable.
In a country of 70 million people, is 30 million doses too many?
Right.
Was it like a bulk buy? I mean, don't get me wrong, I've got the same in the kitchen. You know, they do a 3 for 2. I don't need that many, but it's what I buy. Why are we overspending? I'm really confused. So to find out more, I'm joined by a doctor. Hello.
Hello, Steve.
So why are we buying an extra 30 million doses that we don't need? Or is this just to stop other foreign countries getting them?
Oh, no, but that is a plus. I'll write that down. No, but it's because there are so many reasons that one might need a spare dose. As a doctor, sometimes you aim for a patient's arm, but you might miss, and that would be a dose wasted.
If you are that bad at hitting your target, you should really work for Matt Hancock.
Yes, very humorous. Other reasons for using a dose unsuccessfully, well, we've all been to a party and accidentally started talking to a hat stand, thinking it was a person. Well, if that conversation has resulted in an inoculation, it's another wasted dose.
It's absolutely ridiculous. And even if these things did happen, it wouldn't account for 30 million doses.
Oh, also, there are 70 million people in the UK, but when the points-based immigration system fails, that'll be the rest of the 30 million doses.
Controversial. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, who would have thought we'd end up down that route today? Is this a left-wing or a right-wing show? No one can ever tell.
Yeah, we don't know. Very nice. Well, Stephen has asked us a question. Vaccine for Christmas. How would you carve it?
That's nice.
Yeah.
Would you? I mean, this is going to be the thing. Everyone's worried. Look, we're doing these gigs at home because we can't leave. If the vaccine happens, 2021 will be almost back to normal. Other than the fact we'll be really poor, and haircuts are going to be stark for a while. But other than that, we're nearly there. Come on, we can do this. Woo. Keep the messages coming through. Any of the thoughts on the issues? Yeah, and if there's any problems to solve. I mean, I think the problem is, I think we've solved it. There are too many that have been bought in terms of the vaccine. We've worked out how they can be used. Any of these issues, bring them to us and we'll get them fixed. And if you enjoy it enough to buy as a drink, the link is down the bottom.
The link is there. Well, I'm going to turn back to America because we're getting closer and closer to the election. So, I mean, it's just going to become overwhelming soon. And Trump had an interview on Sunday with Fox News, which is normally quite friendly to Trump, of course, but it was with Chris Wallace, who's probably the only journalist they actually have there. And it was a car crash. It's about 40 minutes. It is well worth watching. I recommend it for everybody. But I've got some favorites of it, and this was the best part, where Trump explains to us why he has his geniusness, and it's verified genius. And we've got that clip.
People, who is more competent? Whose mind is sounder? Biden beats you in that.
Well, I tell you what, let's take a test. Let's take a test right now. Let's go down. Joe and I will take a test. Let him take the same test that I took.
Incidentally, I took the test too when I heard that you passed it.
Yeah, how did you do it?
Well, it's not the hardest test.
No, but
there's a picture and it says, what's that? And it's an elephant.
No. You see, that's all misrepresentation.
Well, that's what it was on the web.
It's all misrepresentation. Because, yes, the first few questions are easy, but I'll bet you couldn't even answer the last 5 questions. I'll bet you couldn't. They get very hard, the last 5.
It's very hard, Steve. It's very, very hard. Now, the maker of the test said, and I quote, "It is supposed to be easy for someone who has," and I quote, "no impairment."
Okay.
And Trump is saying it was hard. Now, Trump was saying to Chris Wallace, let's take a test. Steve, will you be my Chris Wallace? Will you take a test with me right now?
We're doing another quiz on the show.
Doing another quiz on the show.
Get your answers in the comments section. If I'm a quiz contestant, then let me do the usual thing. I've had a nice day so far. It's really nice to be here. Just happy to be here.
You're the kind of chump we like. All right, here we go. Now they showed some images there on that Fox clip, but I got the actual images that Trump was given on his cognitive test. The first one, we're going to show you an image now. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. What is that, Steve?
Okay, that is a lion.
Now, I'm going to answer the questions as Trump would answer them, okay? So that would not be a lion. That would be Trump speaking now, what I do when my mouth is moving.
Lion.
There you go.
Nice.
You got it now. See what we're doing?
I like
puns.
it. I like it.
We do puns. If you like the puns, it's time to put the drink in for the puns. All right. Next picture, Steve. Let's see if you can identify this one. You got one wrong, but that's all right.
Okay.
There's 2 left. Okay. What is that?
That is a rhinoceros.
Close. Now, I would call that a rhino. How do you spell rhino, Steve?
R-H-I-N-O.
No, wrong again. Rhino is R-I-N-O, as in Republican in name only. which is any conservative that doesn't support Trump.
Okay.
How could you get these wrong?
I don't know.
One more image.
I'm impaired.
Okay, this is hard. So, all right. What is the last image here? What is that, Steve?
Okay, looking at that, it is a single humped camel, so it's a dromedary.
No, Steve, that is a terrorist.
Dear. That was
Clearly.
close. That was so close.
Clearly. All right, we got one part of the test left. So this is where it does get hard. Again, Trump said the last few questions. So I'm going to say a sentence, and I need you to repeat the sentence straight back to me. You ready?
Okay. Yep.
Okay. The sentence is, I only know that John is the one to help today.
I only know that John is the one to help today.
No. John is a loser who should help me get reelected. There's only one way to answer these things.
So close. So close.
God. But let's be balanced, because we try and be balanced, left, right. We've got Biden was also asked about these cognitive tests, and this is what he had to say.
Tested for some degree of cognitive decline.
I've been tested, and I'm constantly tested. Look, all I got to do is watch me, and I can hardly wait to compare my cognitive capability to the cognitive capability of the man I'm running against.
Biden was not able to name that man.
The man who is the man that I'm running against. And when are we doing that again? Nice.
Oh, my God.
So
I'm
look,
voting for November.
there's your only options you've got. Seymour says the only reason that we wore a mask this week was because it concealed a pacifier. That was probably for Trump. And Chris in the comments is just happy. He was like, quiz time. We should do a spin-off quiz version. People love the... Although then, I mean, there's no need to be like this. Then in the comment section, he just goes, whooped. Well, it's because I didn't score all the points. Oh, man alive. People are harsh these days.
Yeah, maybe Trump's watching.
Yeah. You can keep the comments coming through. Twitter, YouTube, all the place. We're at Twitch, wherever you're watching it. We're all connected up. And if you enjoy it enough to buy us a drink, drop some money on our little cup, our virtual cup. The link's down the bottom. Time-wise, we're moving on. Have we got any more info coming in on any pennies dropped in the cup?
I have seen a couple more drinks come through, so thank you very much for those. I think there's a Chris in there, and I think yes, there is a Marie as well. So thank you very much, gang. That's very generous. If you're wondering how much to give, anything around 100 pounds, it's fine. But whatever you think, if you think that guy's funny, I'd buy him a drink, or I'd give him a drink just to go away. Anything on that level is perfectly fine. So
London
thank
prices.
you very much for anything you'd like to chuck in that bucket. Right. What have we got here?
And
Steve,
that's all
I think
BBC.
we've got one more problem to solve, don't we?
Yeah. This is how do you solve a problem like China? Okay, last time we did a show, we talked about China and Huawei, and we got taken off air. Not that this is technically off air, but you can go and look at the clips. Somehow we got hacked. Which is fairly fashionable these days, so I don't really mind. Which puts us on a par with, Oxford researchers. But they're back in the news, as we could see here. China's ambassador was shown a shocking video of bound Uyghurs being forced onto a train. It was on the BBC, it was on the Ma programme, and man alive, it was a car crash TV interview live. There's so many bits of it were absolutely so horrible. And I know it's a serious topic, but I think it's worth laughing at the ambassador because, look, if you don't want to be sat in a TV studio having awkward conversations, maybe don't be an ambassador for a country with that kind of human rights record. So you knew what you were getting into when he sat down for an interview with Ma. Here's clip number 1.
Let's look at some very disturbing drone footage that's been widely shared around the world. Can you tell us what is happening here?
Although at this stage, I do think that was a very strange way of asking the question.
Yeah.
It made it seem a bit like a daytime TV quiz show. I thought the rest of the interview was going to pan out like this.
Joe. Is the answer Chinese takeaway?
It's good, it's not right.
But that's not actually how it panned out. What he actually said was probably somehow far worse. For this clip, try and enjoy the massive awkward silence and then the way he tries to answer it without answering it at the end.
Can you tell us what is happening here?
Big silence.
I cannot see, this video.
Oh, my favourite bit of the interview. I can't see. You've zoomed in. You've zoomed in so I can see. Wow. It's a masterclass on how to not try and answer the question because it's a horrible answer. So instead, he went for a different approach of trying to misdirect the questioner.
Let me tell you this. Xinjiang, have you been to Xinjiang yourself?
No, I never have.
You know, Xinjiang is regarded as the most beautiful place in Xinjiang.
Then maybe don't put blindfolds on people when they're there. Maybe you're not thinking through your answers.
Wow.
The terrible interview went on.
Can I ask you why people are kneeling, blindfolded and shaven and being led to trains in modern China? Why? What is going on there?
You know, sometimes you have a transfer of prisons and prisoners.
Oh, that's reaching, isn't it? Sometimes there's a transfer of prisoners and they've just been to Eric's hairdresser and they take off too much. Or sometimes you're on your way out to a fancy dress party and you go as a prisoner and everyone else turns up as the same and it just looks bad. And maybe it's something else. Oh, it got awkward. But then eventually your only other tactic is your best form of defence, if you're an absolute arse, is to attack like he did here.
What is happening here, Ambassador?
I do not know. Where did you get these video clips?
These have been going around the world. They've been authenticated by Western intelligence agencies and by Australian experts who say these are Uyghur people being pushed onto trains and taken off.
Let me tell you this. The so-called Western intelligence keeping up make this a false accusation against China.
Yeah, and how do we know they keep doing that? Because they've got Huawei routers. I mean, so that was just, what a piece of television.
So-called intelligence.
How
dare he? That's our intelligence to mock and make fun of.
Yeah. I actually now have a theory that anyone who says so-called in an argument, it's the race to the bottom thing, isn't it? It's that rule about, within 3 comments someone's talking about Hitler. If you're saying so-called in your argument, you're probably lost.
Yeah, I do like the pitch that he's making, though. He's like, come to China to see the beauties and stay because we won't let you go.
Yeah, that's true. When they asked Mara, have you ever been? Because you should go. Just buy a one-way ticket.
Yeah, I don't think that was a friendly offer. You want to come? You want to come?
Nice. Seymour says, where's the plate of Ferrero Rocher for the ambassador? No wonder he was in such a bad mood.
Oh.
And then everyone's a critic. This is after Chris said that I got whooped. Everyone's a critic, especially here in Russia. I mean, Sheppy, don't give away your location.
Yeah, don't do that. Right. Well, I think we're almost out of time for today. Yeah. But I think we do have one more story that a viewer sent us. So should we finish up with that? And then remember, you can send us stories. This was one that was sent to us during the week. The question is why predominantly U.S. films and TV insist on naming well-known locations with the country, as in London. And to be fair to you, John, who's asked us the question, you just named the places. I just saw that there. So if you were saying that it's American TV, why have you put the names on there?
No, but he's doing the example of it. I see what you're saying, yeah. Because I think it's... I've got a theory on it, but it's a bit insulting to your people. So
that's fine. I've got to wait. Look, I'm fine.
There it is. I think it's because in America there are also places called. There's a Paris in Texas. They've got the smaller they've got copied versions, not original versions.
What?
Snide, moody, knockoff, whichever phrase you want. They have their versions of it, and I think it is that American exceptionalism of thinking, well, if I don't say Paris, France, people will just presume it's ours. Or if I don't say London, England, they must think I mean the small village of London, just outside Leicestershire village, or whatever you've got. Yeah. So I think that's what it is.
Yeah, you're close, Steve. You're close. They think it's actually just the replicas that are in Vegas, which are now the ones that you really should go to. I mean, why come all the way to London?
Go to Paris.
The original London Bridge is actually in Arizona. I think it's it's in the town that my mom spends the winter in now. So if you want to go to London Bridge, Arizona.
And you know the story on that? Do you know the story about how that bridge ended up there?
Some rich dude bought it piece by piece and had it transported over.
And he ordered the purchase of London Bridge, thinking he was getting Tower Bridge. So they sent over London Bridge. That old tatty piece of bridge that no one wanted. When he unpacked it, which must have been several packs.
That's why we looked for freedom.
Where's the turrets? Has anyone seen the turrets? Yeah.
Nice. Can't trust British people.
That's true.
I'm going to put my mug away.
So send us any comments between now and the next show. We will work on them, add them to the show. If you've enjoyed it, buy us a drink down the bottom. It would be muchly appreciated, seeing as we're not allowed to leave the house and start work again yet, and someone's got a haircut to pay for.
Exactly. And yeah, we are back on Thursday at 9 o'clock on the YouTube, on the Facebook, on the wherevers you want to watch us. So if you want to subscribe to the YouTube channel and you want to check us out there and tell people about it, that would also be amazing.
Yeah. Till then, I think have yourself a good one. We'll see you Thursday at 9. Till then, have a good one. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.